Welcome to our KPC Daily Devotional. Today I'd like to read from the Gospel according to Luke from chapter 6. We'll start at verse 30, but I'm just going to read a few verses here and there. Jesus says, "Give to everyone who begs from you, and if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Love your enemies, do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for He is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back." This week, I'm sharing thoughts from a forthcoming book of dog devotions entitled The Social World of Fleas. And today's reflection is somebody else's nuts. Penny sniffs at the ground, then digs like she's on her way to China. The yard is pocked with cone-shaped holes, each perhaps 3 to 5 inches deep, and shaped roughly like her nose. Researchers observing wild Carolina yellow dogs in the coastal scrublands were mystified to see them dig little cone-shaped holes everywhere. They could not imagine what the dogs were looking for. Well, I can only conclude that the scientists must have been standing too far away. My dogs dig holes all the time, especially the terriers. Penny, a black Chihuahua Terrier Boston something or other mix, she does. So did our Manchester Terrier Gracie before her. And I know exactly why they're digging. Obviously, of course, dogs like to hunt for things that burrow. Mice, moles, voles. Everybody knows that, though, and there's no reason researchers should be puzzled about that. And that actually counts for very little of their digging. So let's not count that at all. Well, what else? Well, first of all, dogs eat dirt. They get various needed minerals from the soil. If I start giving them vitamin supplements, often they stop digging. Or rather, let me say, they don't dig as much. Because, secondly, they also look for edible things that live in the dirt. Worms and grubs. Anything with protein. Worms and grubs are high in protein. But there is a third reason, another quarry being unearthed. Penny digs up pecans. We have a lot of pecan trees in our yard. I rarely actually harvest many nuts. They vanish as soon as they fall. For where there are pecans, there are squirrels, and squirrels bury nuts. It's a common misconception that squirrels bury their nuts to hide them for winter. Now, they do in fact collect nuts and bank them in holes in a tree, or in your eaves, or in your attic. That's their stash for the winter. But apart from this, they also bury a lot of them, not to hide them, but to germinate them. At first, the pecans remain dormant, but then they begin to undergo internal changes. And there is a brief moment just before they begin to sprout when the protein level spikes. And that is when squirrels go hunting for their buried treasures. That's also when Penny goes digging for nuts. And when she finds one, she cracks it open and gobbles it down. At times I imagine how the squirrels might feel when they go hunting for the pecans that they had so assiduously planted. I know I put one here someplace. Well, it has to be here. All that preparation, only to discover their efforts have been surreptitiously unearthed and consumed by another. Because Penny did not plant those nuts, did not tend them or monitor their progress. No, she has been harvesting somebody else's nuts. A few years ago, politicians challenged business owners. You didn't build that company, you didn't build those roads, others did it for you. Now, while that might have been partly true, the outraged reaction was justified. It dismissively demeaned all the hard work, the long days and late nights, the personal risks, fears, and tears that go into building a small business from scratch. And of course, like pretty much anything politicians say, it was only an excuse to increase taxes on businesses already struggling in a sluggish economy. The true part, however, is that we are all interdependent. No one is or can be completely self-sufficient. I did not grow or gin, or twine, or weave, or sew the cotton in my shirt. I did not breed, deliver, or raise the cows that gave the milk, or plant, fertilize, harvest, thresh, grind, process, or box the grains in my morning cereal bowl. I did not dig, clean, turn, fire, or glaze the clay in my bowl. I did not mine, smelt, roll, or stamp the ore in my spoon. Any one of those tasks is more than a full-time job for somebody. I rely on others to do their part toward what makes our lifestyle possible. I rely on somebody else's nuts. In return, not everybody can devote the years of study and special expertise that I have. I have it for them, for their sake. So they rely on my nuts too. If I tried to be utterly self-sufficient, it would take every minute of every day just to eke out the barest, most basic existence of a caveman. All progress in culture, in literature, in the arts, technology, all progress is only possible because we count on gleaning somebody else's nuts. As the Hebrews prepared to leave the wilderness, cross the Jordan, and begin the conquest of Canaan, God warned them, when you move into cities you did not build, and eat crops you did not plant, and drink from cisterns you did not dig, don't get cocky and forget where you came from and who gave it to you. 3,000 years later, that's still pretty good advice. So much of life depends on the good graces of others. I could afford college and graduate school only through my late father's pension plan. I made it through my doctoral studies only through the kindness and generous support of friends and acquaintances. I could put a down payment on my house only through my mother's hard work, her frugal lifestyle, and the inheritance it provided. I owe debts galore I can never repay in this life. The best I can do is pass those kindnesses on to others. I got here relying on somebody else's nuts. Now let somebody else get where they need to go by relying on mine. And the poor squirrel who returned to find her buried troves have been plundered by my dog, well, I wouldn't worry about her too much. Right now she's hanging upside down on the bird feeder, loading up on the sunflower seeds I dutifully replace every morning. Sunflower seeds I may have bought, but I didn't grow. They are somebody else's nuts. I wish you a blessed day ahead. Goodbye.